This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Joey McGuire, the Texas Tech head football coach for the Red Raiders, met with the media yesterday. They're finishing up spring practice. They'll have the spring game on Friday night over at Jones Stadium. But, Jamie, he was asked yesterday about the strengths of his team, and Coach McGuire listed these three things as what he sees right now as the strengths of his team.
Yeah, I would start. I think we've got a really good run defense. You know, we got a number of defensive guys back, but then we added some guys that can really stop the run. Adam Trick, Trey White, Bryce Butler, Mateen, Julian. I think we're going to be really good at stopping the run, which always helps. On the other side of the ball, it's been fun to watch. We are better in the offensive line, and we can run the football. We've got two big-time backs that have had great springs in Cam and Jacoby, and then we'll add Q. And the thing that we've seen, of course, we're not going to hit our quarterbacks, but we're in a 2-minute drill the other day, and we've got everything covered, and Swarsby takes off and picks up 30 yards. I mean, he's just somewhere between 238, 240 pounds right now, and, man, he can really run. So I would think that that's a big part of it. And then, the guy that you don't talk a lot about in the spring that we have coming back, we've got a really good kicker in Stone Arrington that had a great fall and was one of the best kickers in the nation, especially on kicking long field goals. And so I think he has continued to have a really good spring, and we feel really good about him. So I think those are like three of the top areas that we have.
So your reaction to that?
Run defense, running game, and kicking game?
Yep.
Oh, those are three things that I think are pretty important, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised that he mentioned the kicking. But, I mean, obviously Stone Harrington had a great year. You just don't necessarily think about that as like, okay, you in a way you hope that you don't get to see his long kicking because you're scoring touchdowns.
But we know that's not reality.
Yeah, you need them.
In football, you'll kick field goals sometimes.
Right, yeah. And then the defensive line strength, obviously that was a huge strength from last year, but you had losses, but then you had guys that were coming back and then reinforcements that came in. So you know how huge that must be, not only to be good up front, but also be able to put pressure on the quarterback. And I think, from what we've seen, I mean, last year in the running back spot, obviously what those two guys did last year was huge. And then, if you can get Quentin Joyner back and get him involved and get him going, you got kind of a three-headed monster there.
It's impressive because if you're talking about a guy that's jumping ahead of what you saw from those two last year that were really, really good for you, then obviously he's extremely talented. I think heading into last year before he got hurt, we expected him to be the lead guy, and it sounds like he's pushing to be that.
Yeah. So here is Coach McGuire. He says three areas that they need to work on before the first game of the season.
I think just us continuing to feel great about the calls, the communication. You have a lot of vets in the secondary, but whoever wins the job between Peyton, Oliver, and Malik, I mean, they're going to be young safeties, so how they communicate. I think the chemistry will develop throughout the summer and fall camp with Swarsby and all the receivers, tight ends, running backs. I think we got to continue, to grow there. And then, the biggest thing for me is just continue to grow us culturally, like how close we can be. And that's going to happen through June and July and camp. I mean, we've got a lot of time for that to happen. And I think that's, a big part. Like everybody talks about X's and O's and strengths of, O-line. We're bigger. There's all that stuff's true. But, last year I've had a lot of NFL teams talk about how connected last year's team was when they watched them on film. And that's, y'all know that's my responsibility. That's what, I think I try to do the most when it comes to this team, is getting us to be together and develop that team chemistry. And we're going in a really good direction. Like I said, we saw some moments last week that was really good to where we're getting closer and closer.
And that really is a skill set that he has in terms of being able to, have a melting pot per se for his team, which is what you have right now in college sports. And he has that ability to, I guess on one hand, find the right guys to bring in, and then on the other hand, bring everybody together through however it is that they do it, whether it's going over and having a slam dunk contest at the Womble, or a swim party, or bowling, or just, out there in the weight room and the practice field, just making sure everybody's pulling the rope in the same direction.
I think it's two parts of it, and I think he's the chemistry part of it. I think he does well with the culture and all that good stuff, but I think it's also identifying the right kind of people to bring in, and people that will fit your system, and that have the right personalities and the right mental mindset and makeup and all the above. Otherwise, they're not interested. And when you are what you are right now with the recruiting monster that you are, you can be choosy. Mm-hmm. You don't have to take guys with bad character. You don't have to take guys who you question whether or not they'll fit in. And so I think a big part of it also is him and his staff doing a great job of identifying the right kind of people to bring in.
And just what an awesome position to be in, because you've not always been in that position. So it seems to all be rolling in the right direction. All right, so they'll practice today, tomorrow, and then have the spring game on Friday, and then it's off-season stuff and getting ready for the season to begin in the fall.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Time for this day in sports history. Today is Tuesday, April the 14th, 2026. This day in sports history, here is Jeff McGuire.
1955. 26-year-old catcher and outfielder Elston Howard becomes the very first African-American to play for the New York Yankees. He hits a single with a 1 RBI and an 8-4 loss to the Boston Red Sox.
Way to go, Elston.
1964. L.A. Dodgers future Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher Sandy Koufax throws his 9th complete game without allowing a walk in a 4-0 opening day win over the St. Louis Cardinals.
It's awful late for the opening game, right? At least by today's standard.
Yeah. 1991, Chicago Blackhawks become the first NHL regular season champion in 20 years to lose in the first round of the playoffs. So, they pulled the Dallas Cowboys. 1995, Clint Bryant extends his hit streak to 28 games with 2 singles, a triple, and a homer as Texas Tech beats Texas 26-17.
Goodness. 43 runs.
Metal bats.
Oh, we have metal bats now.
Yeah, but they were really
hot bats.
They were
hot
bats and hot balls.
No question.
2019, in the 83rd U.S. Masters Tournament, Tiger Woods wins his 5th Masters title by 1 stroke. Dustin Johnson and Brooks Koepka were just behind him as well. Woods' 15th major and first in 11 years. And in 2023, number 21 Texas Tech defeats Oklahoma 13-7 in 10 innings. Red Raiders put on a show in extra innings, scoring 7 runs to earn a convincing Big 12 road win.
What year?
2023. It is National Pecan Day.
Pecan or pecan?
I believe I set up pecan.
Yeah, pecan.
Even though they're the same thing. Because if you say pecan, someone's going to say that's something different, and I was trying to avoid that. But thanks, Chuck. We appreciate you bringing that part of the conversation.
No problem. I'm here to help.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, 49. Oh, whoa. Hold time. My fault. Normally, we don't do this. Usually, if you are celebrating a birthday today, you kind of got to be around to do it. However, it would have been Cal Sechrist's birthday. And there are a bunch of people in this area specifically that wouldn't mind knowing that.
Yeah.
Sarah Michelle Gellar, 49. Peter Capaldi, 68. Brad Garrett, 66. Baker Mayfield, 31. Anthony Michael Hall, 58. Greg Maddox is 60. David Justice is 60. And Brad Osmus is 57.
He's a bench coach for the Yankees now.
And on this day, in 1865, President Abraham Lincoln is shot in the head at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
The assassin, actor John Wilkes Booth, shouted, basically in Latin, "Ever thus to tyrants, the South is avenged," as he jumped onto the stage and fired and fled on horseback. Lincoln died the next morning. That, this day in sports history.
This day in sports history. Have you seen any of those reenactment that are on the History Channel that kind of details the?
You mean back when the History Channel used to actually run history shows?
Yes, right.
Yes, I remember watching those in the past.
Yes,
they could bring those back. I'd be okay with that.
What do they run now?
Aliens and Black Oak Island and Aliens.
Pickers.
I don't even think Pickers is on anymore.
Yeah, it's on. It's on. And they got a new thing. They got a new version of that too.
No. Well, at least that's actually talking about actual history, as opposed to, aliens.
Anyway, if you get a chance, if you ever get a chance to watch it, or you want to Google it, I'm sure it's on YouTube or someplace. It's pretty fascinating and interesting, just in terms of the escape by John Wilkes Booth and his attempted fleeing of his captors and all the people that helped him along the way and things along those lines. It's I found it interesting.
That's good.
Okay, so it's just one of those things if you wanted to educate yourself a little bit.
I think the interesting part is there was supposed to be like, I want to say it was 6. It could have been more or less, but I think 6 is the number. 6 either kidnappings or assassination attempts that night. And Wilkes is the only one that succeeded.
Right, because they were supposed to get like the Secretary of State and
like the whole list,
the Vice President,
yeah.
the whole.
The only person they got
was the president.
Yeah.
Juan M asked this question, and I had to look it up to be honest with you. Hey guys, I must have missed it, but just wondering what time is the spring game on Friday? The listing is 6:00 Friday night.
Okay.
At Jones Stadium. So. We'll have more details on that, but 6 p.m. is the time.
Seems like a good time.
Yeah, that seems to go surely, but folks getting off work and trying to scramble and get over there to watch. But
you don't need to be there till 10 o'clock at night on a spring game.
Spring event, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just thought maybe. Sometimes 6 is hard. It's hard for folks that are getting off work and scrambling.
Stop. 6 is hard for Chuck.
Well,
and that's fine. You're allowed to say it's hard for you to get there at 6. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not in town Friday,
so
it's a non-event for me. I mean, it's a non-issue for me.
Okay, time out. You're complaining about
I'm not complaining. I'm not
start of a spring game.
I am not complaining. I just said it's just go surely for folks that work till 5:30 and want to get there and the rank and file and get over to the stadium and check it out.
And what happens if they miss the first 10 minutes of the spring game? Oh no, we missed the stretching portion. Whatever will we do?
I wish I know basketball games seem like they start at 6 or 8 for the most part. I wish baseball games started at 6 and not 6:30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see
but
that.
I assume that's the reason they give the extra 30 minutes for people to get out of work and get there.
Get there, yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But me personally, I'd prefer it to be at 6.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes those for me, the 6:00 Lady Raider game, it'd be more convenient if it was at 7 for me. But I mean, nobody's. Well, my opinion was
here's why. It's not just because I want to get home and get to bed.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I think a lot of times as it gets later people leave because it's late.
Yeah.
And so we're bending over backwards to get people there for the first pitch.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, when you need them the most, the crowd has thinned down.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you start the games earlier, potential is there that they'll be there for the important parts of the game in the 7th and the 8th inning and the 9th inning.
Yeah.
So instead of bending over backwards to make sure they're there for the first, let's make sure they're there for the 8th and 9th.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion of it.
That makes a lot of sense.
And we have bigger crowds in the first than we do in the 8th. And so I say start it earlier.
Okay. Has anybody ever asked you your opinion of that over there? Nope. But if they did, would you tell them?
I would say that. What I just said.
Yeah.
I'm sure people that are in the know were probably listening right now, Chuck.
And they've all probably said, nobody cares, Jamie.
Yeah, well, and there are plenty of them, and that's their job to do it, and they have every right to make the decision that they make. I'm not up in arms over it, but in my opinion, I'd rather have people that I mean, if you're a great team and you got it packed and all that, it maybe doesn't factor in. But right now it factors in with the fact that you're not packing the place. And so we need every person that we can possibly get there late in games to help this make it a tougher environment. So that's just my opinion.
Okay.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
7:15 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Good morning with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. Nice to have you with us today, this morning here on the Morning Drive. We'll get to Coach Glasgow shortly. This is Red Raider softball team is Road Warriors. They're probably trying to figure out what time zone they're in because they've been out in Salt Lake. They went to Logan and now San Antonio. So it's a whirlwind for that Red Raider softball team. Racer 26, he weighed in this morning. We've got a little panda bear playing laser tag on 34th Street between University and Q, so if you want to keep that alive. But it reminded me of something that I saw last night about Racer 26, Jamie. He almost bowled a 300.
I thought he had one in the past. Okay, well, congrats that you came close. That's awesome.
He came close. This was the other night. Apparently, he went 288 is what he did.
Sweet, so, well done, man.
And got all the way. I want to say he came up and to the last one. He got like a strike, and then I guess you have to get another strike. But he got a 7 and a 1. I think he finished at 288. Is what I had sent myself.
I'll bet it was a spare in the 10th frame. He struck till the 10th, and then spared, and then caught 8.
Yeah, I had taken a screenshot of that, and then I
think that's how you get 288.
Let's see. I can tell you here. I mean, Jeff. So he got a strike in the 10th, and then a 7, and then a 1. It was 285.
Oh, okay.
So it was 285. So, but still, I mean, obviously very impressive.
Extremely.
Was there a box around the 8 on your little screenshot there?
No.
Okay. That would have indicated it was a split.
No. Man. Were you a bowler at one point in time, or you just have this knowledge?
My ex was very into bowling, and we were in several leagues at the time.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. But, yeah.
You enjoyed that, didn't enjoy all of that.
No, I did.
Okay.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
That was about the only thing that she was interested in doing. Okay. But it was okay.
What's your highest score?
227, 230, something like that.
Jamie, didn't you tell me your dad, didn't he bowl a 300?
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I grew up in bowling alleys.
Yeah, you've shared that with us that you had
secondhand smoke. Still probably going to send me to my grave early. But I thoroughly enjoyed. It was a lot of fun.
Did you pick up any pool playing skills or any video game skills or things like that while your parents were off bowling?
No, I don't remember doing a lot of that. Just running around with other friends, whatever.
Yeah, the people that other kids like you that found themselves at the bowling alley. 7:18 this morning here on the Morning Drive. the football on Friday will look like this. Coach McGuire met with the media yesterday. He said Friday will not be a true game. It's going to be more like what we did last year, where it's situational football. We'll have some good-on-good team compete. Just put the ball down and compete. Then we'll have some 2-minute periods. We'll end the scrimmage with a red zone lockout like they have the last couple of years. The biggest thing that they're trying to do is get out of there without any injuries.
You can understand that.
Yeah. And he did say that Terrence Carter would not play. He said the only guy off the top of my head that has been in the spring, that's been going to practice, that won't play in the spring game is Terrence Carter. He's got a high ankle injury. He's on the right end of it as far as movement. Feels really good. He said, and if we were playing in a real game Friday or Saturday, Terrence would be ready to go. Okay.
What about Thursday?
He didn't say about Thursday.
I love that Coach McGuire mentioned Friday.
Yeah, it's what he said. He said, and if we were playing in a real game Friday or Saturday, Terrence would be ready to go. Just don't want to put him in a practice to where he's not 100% and risk anything else. He said, if we get to Tuesday the way we have been, we're going to come out in a really good spot health-wise from this spring football. Okay? So there you go. But yeah, I mean, obviously you want to get out of there as quick as you can without any injuries. I almost wonder if they, to a point where it's like, at what point in time do we say, hey, we're just not going to do this. We're just going to have a practice and we're going to call it good. But I mean, you want your fans to be excited. I mean,
I've already gone from having a real football game to doing drills.
Yeah.
Very controlled.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is just because they want to work on certain things. But I think I would imagine a lot of that is making sure that guys don't hurt themselves.
Yeah. I mean, and having an open practice, I mean, they clearly want the fans to kind of see what they've been doing and kind of showcase some stuff and things like that. I almost wonder too, and I mean, you can get injured walking across campus. We can all get injured just going out the front steps of our house, or in some cases going out the back of your house. I mean, people have been known to trip and fall doing that.
Or walking to the bus.
People have been known to take a header on the circle drive of a hotel, But, almost what I was going to say is almost wonder if a punt, pass, and kick kind of competition would be fun.
Maybe.
I mean, wouldn't that be kind of interesting? I mean, see who can, throw it the furthest and kick it the furthest and kick from everybody thinks they can throw. I mean, everybody thinks they can punt.
At the D1 level,
I'm probably not showing up for that.
Okay.
At the D1 level, the guys that would be participating in the
punt,
pass, and kick, I'm sure would have to do they would make the first punt, the first throw, and then have to try to kick from the other side of the uprights.
I also don't know that we want our players just, hey, throw it as far as you can. I feel like that's... You're asking for
injuries there.
Injury,
yeah, you're probably right. I mean, there is a reason why I'm not a head coach, and that
what's that?
Suggestions that I make are not taken. Because they're probably deemed ludicrous or maybe outlandish or ridiculous or things like that.
That there's crazy talk, Chuck. They don't know what they're missing out on.
I know. I mean, somebody brings up the fact that we do have football players dunking during basketball games. Mm-hmm. You do have that, but you can't just put them in bubble wrap and say don't do anything until the fall. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, sometimes injuries are going to happen.
Well, when they get to the next level, they can. Certain players have it in their contract. They're not supposed to play pickup basketball and all that.
Or ski or water ski or, all those different kinds of things. Softball, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy kind of how all that goes, that sometimes you like I said, you have those injuries. All right, 7:24 and some change here this morning on the morning drive. Jamie's got a question, I presume, right? You got a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Jamie's question of the day is next. Don't forget, we've got Red Raider Baseball on the air for you today. Also tomorrow with Incarnate Word coming to town. That'll be a 6 o'clock broadcast time, 6:30 first pitch over at Danlaw Field at Rip Griffin Park. But first things first, tonight the boys travel to Abilene. They get on the bus and head over to ACU. First pitch is a little after 6. We'll have the broadcast at 5:30 tonight here on Double T 97.3.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Okay, my question for you guys today is this. What 3 Red Raider football players are the most likely to be first team all-conference in 2026? You only get 3.
All conference.
First team.
First team. That's big time stuff right there.
It sure is.
I mean, you got to really, really perform. I'm going to take. I think I'm going to take the low hanging fruit here. I'm going to go Brendan Sorsby for one, your quarterback. You paid him like an all conference guy. Okay, right?
I mean, you paid him like an NFL Pro Bowler. That's not true. I mean, NFL quarterbacks are making 40-something million.
Yeah,
so you paid him like an NFL
more than a back
clipboard holder.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go. Okay,
yeah.
But still, I mean, that's fair. I think Stone Harrington's got a chance to be an all conference guy. Just because of his kicking ability.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
not his pass catching?
Putting it through the pipes, man. And oh gosh, let's see here. Okay, if your quarterback's going to be all conference, then you know what? One of your receivers is too. So I'm going to stretch it out there and say Micah Hudson.
Okay.
Okay.
Jeff?
He's thinking.
He's allowed.
Sorsby, Roberts, Terrence Carter.
I'm a big Terrence Carter fan. I hope you're right about that.
I think Terrence Carter is more likely than
Micah Hudson.
You're
probably
as
right
a
about
receiver.
that. You're probably right about that.
Okay, so Sorsby was the low-hanging fruit. I absolutely think that you have to consider him. Next on my list, I think would have been Ben Roberts. Okay, so you guys have taken those 2 already. That's good. So I'll try to go elsewhere. Anthony Holmes Jr. was a third-team All-American for one publication last year. Surely he's got to be in this conversation, right?
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Yeah, I think he absolutely has to.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bryce Pollock is one of the best cover corners in the league, maybe in college football.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bryce Pollock has a great chance to be a first-team all-conference member.
And he has not played this spring because he is recovering from shoulder surgery.
Okay.
But they expect that.
Mm-hmm.
They expect he'll be fine.
Okay. And the third guy I'm going with is a newcomer, and it's AJ Frick. I'm forgetting his first name. The Russian that I think has been impressive so far, and usually guys that can get after the quarterback.
What's his last name?
Isn't it Frick?
Francis? No. That's a kicker or a quarterback.
From Miami of Ohio. Should have been better.
Oh, let's see. Oh.
You guys stole my other answer, so I wanted to go with him. Trick.
Okay.
And it's Adam.
Adam Trick. Okay.
Adam Trick.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, my bad. Adam Trick. So I think that you keep hearing good things about him. And again, I think guys that get after the quarterback that can get sacks, those guys seem to get publicized a lot. Mm-hmm. So those are guys that are harder to find. So I bet Trick has a chance.
Okay. Speaking of,
here's one I think we missed.
Okay.
I think Jacoby Williams is a kick returner. Has a great chance to be first team all conference as a kick returner. Not necessarily as a running back, but as a kick returner.
Okay. Was it you and Choice that were talking yesterday about I think you asked the question of what would you like to see better, and Choice was saying the punt return game?
That was actually me.
That was you. Okay. I thought you guys were talking, and so that was you.
We do that.
Right. No, yeah, I'm aware. Yeah. No, I enjoy listening to you. You have good conversations. Somebody says this, of course, Chuck goes straight to the kicker. Yeah.
I thought he was going to be on my list too. Chuck just beat me to the punch.
Okay.
So I went with some different guys, but I would have gone Stone Harrington as well.
Yeah.
You can't make as many field goals as he's made and not be in contention for being an all-conference player.
Yeah, and have a great leg too. So, he's got deep range. So, I'll be disappointed if we're not talking about him as being a guy. But, yes, your comment is fair. Chuck always goes to the kicker. But in this instance, I think Chuck was right.
Okay. With regard to A.J. Holmes, he was on 3 All-America second team in 2025, Pro Football Focus All-America team, Pro Football Focus All Big 12, All Big 12 third team, Shrine Bowl 1000. He played in all 13 games last year, 35 tackles, 17 solo, 9 tackles for a loss, recorded 4.5 sacks, plus 7 quarterback hits and 4 pass breakups, 2 sacks against KU, strip sack against BYU in the Big 12 championship game that led to Tech getting a 24-7 lead in the fourth quarter. That was a big strip sack there too, because it was obviously 17-7 at the game. If BYU scores on that possession, it's a 17-14 game. Mm-hmm. So that was a big play in that game, and that was early in the fourth quarter. So when the game was still a little bit in doubt, so he's got this year left in terms of his eligibility. All right. So prior to that, he spent 3 years at Cougar High, the University of Houston, which you kind of really can't call them that anymore because they've become pretty
hide and
good.
watch.
You what?
Hide and watch. I will absolutely still continue to call them Cougar High.
Okay. Okay.
Watch. Cougar High.
Cougar High.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Sometimes it just happens, right? That's what I guess the Power Hour is all about, Jamie.
I'm afraid to look at the chat line right now.
Good morning. It is the Morning Drive here on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3.
I can't believe we've been doing the Power Hour now for, about a month or so?
Uh-huh.
And that's the first time I've thought about getting Weird Al as one of the songs that we play on the Power Hour.
Paul writes in this. He says this: lunchtime for kids is wild. I've never seen teachers or administrators eating at 10:30. Chuck is spot on with this take. Okay. With this whole draft order rant, was this whole draft order rant just a vessel for Chuck to show his frustration about having to eat lunch and cut in line earlier than he would like to because he's not hungry yet? Hashtag Power Hour. No, it wasn't. It just kind of came up with. It just kind of came together for me. It wasn't any vessel. But I like that. I like the conspiracy thought there. This morning, fellas, I have an idea regarding school lunches. Why don't parents such as Chuck quit babying their children and delivering restaurant food to them at lunch? DPI. Well, first of all, I'm not the parent of the phenoms. I'm just the grandpa. So, I have limited rules, limited jurisdiction. I get plenty of advice from the lucky lady about what to do and what not to do, and I filter that to what I feel is best for all involved.
I don't think this is what the text was about.
Yeah.
I think he's just referencing the fact that parents bring lunches to school.
Yeah.
And when my kids were of that age that they wanted me to come and have lunch with them, probably once every 3 weeks or so, I would do it with with one or each of them, whatever. It was a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun.
A good bonding time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to meet the little Phenoms' friends, and get to see, kind of interact a little bit. I think it's fun.
I mean, with my wife as a teacher, she has also told me of parents that bring in fast food for their child every single day.
Every day.
Every single day.
Wow.
That seems a little bit over the top to me.
Absolutely.
You raise your kids how you want to raise your kids.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I hear you, Chuck. I think drafting new players has little to do with teamwork. They just hope that personalities mesh enough. Obviously, they didn't often, which is a different thing completely. Okay. Chuck, it isn't 10. Most are 10:30 or so, but I agree it's early. Unfortunately, managing that many kids through the cafeteria is more difficult than you know. Okay.
Mm-hmm. This just in. Maybe harder than it looks.
Big Pa doesn't like the Phenoms and the Boy Wonders lunchtimes because it affects him. Yeah.
You joke with us about we always assume the worst from you or all of that. You are very, very easy to read. Okay. Your emotions are on your sleeve.
They are on my sleeve.
And
it
it's
gets
not
me in trouble.
just Jeff and I and your wife. Obviously, our listening audience can figure that out too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chuck, I love you, but you know nothing about how to operate a school. It ain't
very nice.
It ain't Furs, Chuck. It's a school cafeteria. Okay?
I miss Furs. I'm not saying I ate there every day or once, but when I went to Furs, it was exactly what I wanted.
We need I took a lot of drugs this morning clip. Okay, I took my usual number.
I took a lot of drugs this morning, so
I got 2 more to take. Get the dumb ones out, right, Chuck? Okay.
That was my favorite part. We need to get kids out of school. There are too many of them in school.
Too many of them. Yeah, Chucky Mike. Again, you spelled Chucky wrong. It's I-E, not with a Y. You can add that to another one of the dumb takes of the day. Add to that another one to the dumb take of the day. Okay.
What would you like for these children to do that we are kicking out of school?
I'm not going to kick anybody out of school.
So you can have lunch with your grandchildren at a proper time.
Proper time.
Where would you like these kids to go, Chuck?
I don't know. I mean, just
sweatshops?
No.
What? I mean,
go to the 10:30 lunch. I mean, the kids that you shouldn't be. No playground for you. Go to lunch, then go back and study. Read a book. Something. Learn how to spell. All those kinds of things. Do math.
Maybe we shouldn't talk about the spelling there, Chuck. You may have to get the 10 o'clock lunch.
This be too hard for bottom teams to build a good team without having a shake-up draft with current players to create level playing field, then go from there. Hey, there's things called trade. Okay.
What will they have to trade?
Well, I mean, they got. I don't know.
Hang on. Let's go back to your idea for a second. Top teams get the top talent from the draft. Mm-hmm. They've got them. They've already spent the money. New owner comes in, buys a bad team. Mm-hmm. What incentive could he possibly have other than paying an enormous amount of money to try to get players to come to him?
What people they do that. They do stupid stuff all the time.
I'm talking why would you play for anybody but the top 3 teams?
But but that doesn't.
They're the ones that win all the championships and win all the games.
Look, just because you have the number 1 draft pick or 2 or 3 or 4 doesn't mean that you're going to make the right selection. It doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to work out. I'm just talking about rewarding. How about we reward success? All the time it seems like we want to reward failure. Okay, let's reward people that don't work. Let's reward people that don't go to school. Let's reward people that finish last in the division. It's just we just. Why not every once in a while we reward people that are successful?
I'm explaining it to you, if you'll let me finish.
I'm sorry.
I'm trying here. For this particular conversation, the Dodgers, they have the best team right now. They have spent an enormous amount of money. So they get the number 1 pick, and they get the number 1 pick in the 2nd round and 3rd round and 4th round. They've got all these top picks. They keep them, they draft them. You assume that they would have good talent in them. Let's say the top 3 teams. Do you enjoy the same 3 teams winning every sport every single year?
No, but
that's what it would turn into.
I don't.
You would be shuffling between those 3 teams. It's why the NFL went to the draft this way, so they could shake up and bring parity in the league.
Has it worked?
It's why the college football playoff got extremely boring.
How much money is the NFL
when it was
making?
the same 3 or 4 teams every year.
You know, I had the guys on Two Pros and a Cup of Joe talking this morning, and I already had this thought in my head for just a rainy day, or a day that I kind of felt like we needed something. I just felt like using
it. It was raining outside.
Yeah, so it says.
Your phone says, at least.
That's what my phone says. I don't know where, but it's raining somewhere in Lubbock.
We don't go look. We just look at our phone. Our phone says it, then it must be true. We don't actually go and see if it's raining.
Hey, hang on. Chuck just asked probably the craziest question I've ever heard him ask.
What?
Did it work for the NFL?
Hey, so earlier today, we were discussing game times for different sports, right?
Right. 6 o'clock for the
6 o'clock, and
the spring
what
game.
you prefer and what you don't prefer. And I stated that I had an opinion about. I think that Tech baseball games would be better if they started at 6 than 6:30, and the reason being that you would. A lot of times you have fans trickling out when the game really matters, and you want more fans there at the end. At the same time, I said to you, I fully acknowledge that Texas Tech has people over there that, that's their job to make those decisions.
Sure.
And they've studied and they've gone through the process a whole lot longer than I have, and so I respect the fact that they might have a different opinion than me, right? I love the fact that in the history of sports, I mean, we're talking the NHL, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA. It's always been the worse you are, the higher you draft, because you want to equal things out and make it good competition. In the history of ever, right?
Yeah.
And you are a diehard sports fan, right? You are all in. I mean, you wear that recliner out every weekend watching sports. Okay?
I do.
You got it all. I mean.
Got an automatic. I got an automatic one now.
Well, of course. I wouldn't want you to have to pump it or anything.
Remote control recliner.
But you came to us today and you're like, I have this idea. Okay. I'm smarter than everybody else in the history of sports that have done the drafts.
I just thought it was.
I have come up with an idea that is better than all of these people have come up with. You didn't think they had good reason to do it like they're doing it.
Well, I don't think it's working for the NBA because they keep having a problem with their star players wanting to play.
The NBA doesn't have an influx of new star players.
Just because guys sit out games in the regular season so they're ready for the postseason doesn't mean they have a problem.
Okay.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.